It started out as a beautiful morning just before the sun came up. It's around 4:47 a.m. when a bloody German Shepherd limps up to a fire station, dragging something horrifying in its mouth. A woman's sneaker soaked in blood. This isn't just any stray dog begging for food. This is a dog with a mission. What the firefighters discovered when they followed this mysterious canine into the forbidden woods would expose a killer, save a child's life, and reveal a heartbreaking story of loyalty that lasted 5 years. This is the incredible true story of Buddy, the dog who never forgot. But before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe and like our channel. We want your support as this will help us in creating more videos. At Fire Station 14 in Bellingham, Washington, Lieutenant Chuck Taylor and firefighter Mary Little heard frantic scratching at their door. This wasn't the usual sound of a stray looking for scraps. This sounded desperate. When Chuck opened the door, he froze. A German Shepherd stood trembling, ribs protruding through matted fur, covered in mud and blood. Scars crisscrossed its body, some old, others fresh. Its left paw was swollen and bleeding. But what made Chuck's heart skip wasn't the dog's condition. It was what it carried. A woman's sneaker, once white with a faded pink stripe, now stained deep red. The laces were knotted around the dog's jaw, like someone had tied them there to send a message. The dog dropped the bloody shoe at Chuck's feet with deliberate precision. Then it barked once, sharp, commanding, filled with desperate urgency. Mary appeared beside Chuck. "Look at those laces," she whispered. "Someone tied that shoe to his mouth on purpose. This isn't random." The dog's eyes darted toward the dark forest beyond the station. It took limping steps in that direction, stopped, and looked back. The message was clear. "Follow me. Lives depend on it." Every protocol said call animal control and wait for backup. But something about this dog's eyes overrode every rule. "We're really going to follow a stray dog into the woods at 5 a.m.? Mary asked, already reaching for her gear. Chuck studied the bloody sneaker. The size, style, the way blood had dried in specific patterns. This wasn't minor injury splatter. This was evidence of something serious. Look at this shoe. The blood patterns. The way it's tied. Someone's in trouble, and this dog is trying to tell us something. Within minutes, they loaded their rescue truck with emergency supplies. The German Shepherd leapt into the passenger seat with surprising agility despite its injuries, sitting perfectly still like a seasoned partner. "This isn't a panicked animal," Mary observed as they drove. "This is a dog with a plan, with a specific destination." They were heading into the dead zone. Forest devastated by wildfire 10 years ago. The fire had burned so hot that much of the area remained barren. Locals avoided the skeletal trees, claiming the place felt cursed. But their guide showed no hesitation, bounding from the truck straight into the twisted maze of burned timber and overgrown underbrush. The trail was barely visible. Slight depression in moss-covered ground, snapped branches, drops of blood every 20 feet, but the dog moved with absolute certainty, never pausing to search. "He's been this way before," Mary noted, watching how the dog navigated obstacles without hesitation. "Multiple times. This is familiar territory. The deeper they went, the quieter it became. No bird songs, no rustling animals, just boot crunches on damp earth, the dog's injured paws padding ahead, and oppressive silence." Chuck checked his radio. Static too far from civilization. "We're flying blind," Mary muttered. "Not blind," Chuck replied, watching the German Shepherd's relentless determination despite its limp. "We've got him." A mile in, they found concrete evidence, a torn sweater on a branch, wet with dew and something darker. Mary examined it with gloved hands. Female, small size, teens or early 20s, torn off forcibly during a struggle. The dog stopped completely, ears forward, body rigid. Then it growled, not fear, but recognition, memory. It began moving faster, with renewed desperation. The clearing appeared suddenly, small, choked with fire debris and new growth. At first glance, empty. But the German Shepherd stepped forward purposefully and began pawing at what looked like random leaves and branches. Then it looked back with those same urgent eyes. Chuck moved first, carefully brushing aside natural camouflage. What he found made his blood run cold. A hand, pale, dirt-streaked, but warm, still alive. Mary, live victim. The young woman was barely conscious, breathing shallow, lips cracked and blue from exposure, blood dried down her head from severe trauma, clothes torn, shivering from hypothermia. "You're safe now," Mary said, beginning medical assessment. "We're firefighters." The woman's eyes fluttered open. "Help me." As paramedics arrived, she grabbed Mary's arm with surprising strength. There was another one, deeper in the woods. A little girl. He has a little girl. Before the ambulance left, Chuck got her ID. Emily Morris, 23, missing 3 days from 40 miles away. As the ambulance disappeared, the German Shepherd turned toward deeper woods. Its demeanor had shifted, urgency mixed with grim determination. "He knew there were 2 victims," Mary said amazedly. "He led us to the first, but he's not done." The dog began walking again, but its movement had changed. Before, urgent, but controlled. Now there was anger, focused rage, the stride of a predator closing in. They followed through dense undergrowth and fallen timber. The dog never hesitated, moving like it had walked this path 100 times. "This isn't random," Chuck said quietly. "This dog has been planning this for a long time. It's all been orchestrated." 20 minutes deeper, they found their answer. The shack appeared like something from a horror movie. Decrepit, abandoned, leaning precariously. Boards gray with rot, roof half-caved, dark openings where windows should be. Fresh scratches covered the door, deep gouges made by desperate claws. The German Shepherd sat by the door and let out a heartbreaking whine so mournful it made Mary's eyes water. "That's not fear," she whispered. "That's grief." Chuck pushed the door open, revealing a scene burned into memory forever. Metal chair bolted to the floor, blood-stained ropes, a reeking bucket. What made Mary gasp was what sat in the center. Another shoe, child-sized, blue with cartoon characters. Blood smeared the edges. The dog nudged the small shoe, then looked up with eyes holding years of pain and desperate urgency. "There's a child out there," Chuck said, voice tight. "We're running out of time." The dog suddenly stiffened, ears pricked toward the back. A low growl rumbled, pure, focused fury. It bolted. They scrambled to follow as Buddy raced deeper with military precision. This was a hunt now. The trail led through difficult terrain to a small clearing with a dirty blanket, water bottle, and torn purple backpack. Stitched on back, Melanie. "She was here minutes ago," Chuck said, feeling the warm blanket. The dog bounded toward a steep ravine. The descent was treacherous, but they followed. The dog even helping Mary when she slipped by, catching her jacket. At the bottom, 8-year-old Melanie Gumbel tied to a tree with a tall man in gray hoodie standing over her, knife in hand. "Hands where I can see them," Chuck shouted, drawing his weapon. The German Shepherd launched through the air, hitting the man square in the chest. The knife flew away as Chuck moved in with handcuffs. Mary freed Melanie while the dog pressed its head gently against the child's side, letting out a soft whimper of relief. After 5 years, mission finally complete. The man was Maynard Boggs, 43, with a criminal record spanning 2 states. Searching the shack revealed the real story: a worn leather collar with faded name tag, Buddy. 5 years ago, Boggs had owned Buddy, the German Shepherd, a K9 Academy reject. During a domestic dispute with girlfriend Marnie Calder, both dog and woman disappeared. Police found a blood trail, but no body. Now they understood. The bloody sneaker wasn't Melanie's. It was Marnie's. Evidence Buddy had guarded for 5 years, waiting for someone to listen. Melanie confirmed. He kept saying someone would remember where to look. I didn't understand until I saw the dog. Buddy had survived in those woods for 5 years, waiting for Boggs to return. When he brought Melanie to that same forest, Buddy knew this was his chance for justice. The next morning, cadaver dogs found Marnie Calder's remains in a shallow grave near where Melanie had been tied. She was wrapped in the same sweater, with dog hairs embedded in fabric. Buddy had been there when she died, tried to save her, and when he couldn't, never left her side. For 5 years, he'd been her guardian, her witness, her voice crying for justice. When Marnie's sister Dana arrived from Seattle, something magical happened. Buddy immediately recognized her scent, limped across the floor, and pressed his head into her legs, letting out a breath carrying 5 years of grief and finally, relief. Buddy's story spread worldwide. At a ceremony, Melanie reunited with her rescuer, hugging him and whispering, "Thank you for being brave when I was scared." The fire chief presented Buddy with a Medal of Valor. This is for courage without command, for loyalty without leash. Buddy was never just a stray. He was waiting for us to listen. Buddy became a permanent resident of Fire Station 14 with his own bed and plaque reading, "Buddy, the one who remembered." Every morning, he'd walk to the forest edge, sit quietly for 5 minutes, then return, remembering Marnie and honoring her memory. Melanie visited regularly, bringing drawings of brave dogs. Their bond became a symbol of healing, 2 survivors helping each other move forward. The town created Memory Grove with Buddy's trail, transforming a place of fear into hope and justice. Schools taught his story as an example of loyalty overcoming any obstacle. Buddy's medal ceremony went viral, inspiring millions. The fire station established the Buddy Memorial Fund for search and rescue training. A year later, Buddy chose his peaceful moment to pass over the Rainbow Bridge, surrounded by his firefighter family and Melanie. They buried him under a tall pine with the inscription, "Buddy, the one who remembered, the one who returned." Melanie placed her final drawing on his grave. Buddy with wings, watching over children playing safely. He's still protecting people, just from somewhere else now. Sometimes the greatest heroes don't wear badges, carry weapons, or receive recognition in their lifetime. Sometimes they have 4 legs, a loyal heart, and a memory that refuses to let injustice hide in the shadows of forgotten places. Buddy's story reminds us that heroism comes in many forms, that love transcends species, that loyalty can survive any hardship, and that sometimes the most important voice crying out for justice belongs to someone who cannot speak at all. He showed us that true courage isn't the absence of fear, but the determination to do what's right despite fear. His legacy lives on in every search and rescue dog that finds a missing person, in every act of loyalty between human and animal, and in every person who refuses to give up hope when others have lost faith. Buddy proved that sometimes justice has 4 legs and a heart that refuses to quit, and that the most important rescue can take 5 years to complete. This is why we remember Buddy. This is why his story matters. And this is why, somewhere in the forests of Washington, his spirit continues to watch over those who need protection, guidance, and hope. If you're still with us, thanks for watching, and remember to hit that notification bell so you know when our next video posts. Ciao for now.